Do you struggle with your colored pencil drawings? That was dramatic. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be going over tips and techniques for colored pencils that may help improve your drawings overall. Okay, let's get into this video. Okay, the first thing that I want you guys to know is that there are two different types of professional colored pencils. There's oil-based pencils and then there are wax-based pencils. And the difference between the two is that one isn't going to break as easily. The oil-based pencil is not going to break as easily as the wax-based pencil. But the wax-based pencils blend and are creamy, like they're just a lot easier to use for beginners in my opinion. So when it comes to sharpening them, that's where problems can occur because you need to have a right type of sharpener for the pencil you're using. For instance, the sharpener that I have is double-sided, so it has one that'll make it really sharp and the other side will make it pointy, like it's not as sharp, and it's kind of hard to explain. If you can see the pictures then you'll get it. So the wax-based pencil goes in the shorter, more stubbier point, and that is because the less area of the pencil that you're sharpening, the less likely it is to break. The more exposed the core is, the more likely it's to break. So I suggest using it in a stubbier sharpener. And for the oil pencils, I suggest using in the sharper, more pointy side. And that is because these pencils can handle more of the core being exposed. Okay, so another main tip that I have for colored pencils is when trying to shade evenly, hold the pencil further back and use light and consistent pressure. And this should help with the problem of your shading looking streaky. And so I know that this tip has been addressed by lots of other YouTubers and artists out there, but I would like to help reinforce it because it really is an important tip. Alright, so this next tip is kind of related to the last tip, and that is to build up nice even shading. Smooth, even shading. Where am I going with this? Alright, so whenever you're trying to get like a nice gradient or a nice smooth skin or like a nice finished product, it's not the word I'm supposed to use. So build up those layers nice and lightly. Try not to have them all streaky. And if you're following from the last tip, that should be a lot easier if you hold your pencil further back. Okay, so this next tip is kind of like a hack, and that is to use a white gel pen over your finished colored pencils. Now this should be done lastly because otherwise if you add any more pencil, it's going to cover up the highlights. And I really like this one because it's easy. But I have to warn you that if you are trying to sell your paintings or your drawings or anything like that, that this technique probably won't last as long as you might like it to. So maybe try to find some gel pens that are light fast, which I've actually never heard of that before. If you guys know of anything of that, then please comment down below. I would love to hear from you guys. Alright, so this next tip is by far one of my favorites, and that is to use an X-Acto knife or a crafting knife to scrape away the pigment or the colored pencil off the paper. And the reason for doing this is so that you can achieve certain textures like hair or fur, or maybe even bring up some highlights. I really like this one. And please use smooth paper. When I first tried to use this hack or technique, I could not get it down. I was frustrated. But once I figured out that you need to use smooth paper, I was like, well, now I feel silly. So yes, I really do recommend this tip, but please be careful because when working with sharp knives and stuff, you can hurt yourself. Just had to throw in that disclaimer. Okay, so again, this tip is kind of like the last one, and that is just to use an indenting tool to get simple highlights. And I don't actually use this one very often because I'm too nervous that I'm just going to wreck the whole thing, but I do recommend trying it out and learning how it works. And if you don't have an indenting tool, you can actually use the back of your pencil as long as it is hard enough. So just kind of wanted to throw that in there. Okay, so for this next tip, use a white pencil on the plain piece of paper before you go on with any of the other colors to have a nice soft highlight. Now this isn't really going to work for those really bright highlights, so yeah, but it is a pretty easy one that I thought I would share with you. Here's a pencil saver hack. Whenever you have just sharpened your pencil and it's already looking dull, I'm talking to you wax pencils, just get some sandpaper and lightly scratch it on the sandpaper to get a fine point on the core so that you don't have to waste up any more of that precious pencil. Are you having trouble with your pencil or your graphite sticking up through your colored pencil drawings? Well, other than using a kneaded eraser, if you don't have one, you can use either the same color pencil that you plan on coloring over, or a sketch pencil, which they do sell colored sketch pencils, and just use that one first and then color over as normal. And then you won't have those annoying gray or black lines sticking through your drawings. Okay, so for this last tip, I suggest using a blending stump to easily blend out those couple layers of color pencil, and I do suggest having a couple layers because otherwise it's probably not going to look right. And this is mainly for beginners, those who haven't invested in solvents or blending pencils, anything like that. So it is really easy, and let me know if you give it a go and how it works. Anyway guys, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and let me know in the comments if you used any of these hacks and if they worked for you. Bye!